What are the different type of boundaries? One will ask. So there are physical boundaries, boundaries that govern or rules that govern how we will allow people to touch us, how we will allow people to sit around us. Are we physical people? Do we enjoy hugging and kissing? Or we are private people where we don't want anybody and everybody to touch us? Those are the physical boundaries. Then we have our mental boundaries. There are times when we think a particular way, we like certain things, we have opinions about, let's say, political parties, to foods, to religion, to uh, anything and everything, like maybe internet. Now we don't want anybody to tell us how we should think, and that is a perfectly all right boundary to have. Nobody has a right to tell us that within us what is it that we are supposed to think. Another point of view can be put forward, another point of view which I will absorb, I will process, and if should I want to change that mental process, I will do so. Okay. Then we have emotional boundaries. What are emotional boundaries? Many a times you have been asked this question: why do you feel this way? Oh, but why do you feel angry? Or why? Nobody has this right to question your emotion. If you feel a certain way, you feel a certain way. Emotions, as I have always maintained, they are transient. They are almost like weather. They keep coming up, they keep going down, depending on what you are thinking. And so, if you're feeling emotional about a particular issue, nobody has the right to sit there and tell you how you should feel or how you should be processing your emotions. That is a right you reserve for yourself. So that is your emotional boundary. Don't let anybody violate that boundary, because most of your arguments, if you trace them back, they will be dated back to either of these two. Why do you think a particular way? Why do you feel a particular way? And then there are boundaries with relation to food. How will you eat? What is good for you to eat? When you are looking at your health, and if you look at your blood report and decide, yes, this food is not good for me, that is a decision that you are making. But there are times when a lot of food shaming happens in our culture, where people start saying, oh, you're eating oily food, it's not good for you. You're eating sugar, someday you will have diabetes. This is shaming. This is creating fear in your mind and violating the boundary. Now, what happens as a result? Maybe you don't eat that in front of them, but you will find that moment of yours where you will, when it is forbidden, you will especially go out there and eat that when they are not present. The ones who forbid you are not present, and that is why so many of the diabetics, or so many of them, are found actually stealthily going in the kitchen when the forbidding member is not present. They go out there and eat it. Eating what food you will put within yourself is a decision you make, and you live with the consequence. Every human being, if they learn this simple thing, that every behavior has a consequence and it is up to you to live with it. As a person who wants to handle boundaries or create those boundaries can sit there firm and state, I will decide how much and what I will eat. Even with children, the force feeding happens. So if we can teach them right from the beginning that I am not the one who's going to force you. I am the one who's going to lay down the rules, and then you can decide what is going to happen to you. That is teaching responsibility. There are boundaries with regards to dress. Yes, we have conventions in weddings. You wear this. In particular funeral, this is the color to be worn. Okay. Now these are the boundaries that maybe we call them appropriate, but between those particular areas where you are being shamed that you have to wear only this color because this color I feel suits you, and that is a boundary, or that is a violation that you must take very, very carefully. Where people start telling you, especially this happens within spouses, where they tell you what you should wear because they feel about it a certain way. It's your body, you will decide. There are boundaries with regards to, let's say, exercise. How much you should exercise, why it is good for you. Yes, exercise is good for you, but it is your decision because it's ultimately your body. Now, when you start having these kind of boundaries, where you start having the rules about your food, about your clothes, about your attitude, about your every single pattern, you own yourself, you own your mental health, and you tell the people around you that I am a person who's responsible for my own self, and I will be the one who will decide what happens with me and what does not happen to me. Again, more discussion is there in the blog. Head over there and read about it and go ahead and share it with people. Today we need these boundary education so that we have less interpersonal conflicts and more freedom for each other.